Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the wild, wonderful, and often problematic world of Bollywood. Now, I grew up on Bollywood. Shah Rukh Khan is basically my cool uncle. But there's this one thing that's been bugging me. It's the elephant in the room. Or should I say, the villain in the action sequence. We're talking about the portrayal of Pakistan and Indian Muslims in Bollywood films. Specifically, the way they're often relegated to stereotypical, one-dimensional antagonists. We've got nuclear launch codes in mosques. We've got undercover ISI agents disguised as your friendly neighborhood chaiwala. And don't even get me started on the love jihad trope. Over the next few minutes, we're going to break down some recent and upcoming releases, unpack the harmful narratives they perpetuate, and most importantly, call them out. Because representation matters, and frankly, Bollywood, we deserve better. First up, we have Gadar, Ek Prem Katha, a film that seemed determined to set the Indo-Pakistani peace process back a few decades. The plot, you ask? Well, it's the same tired formula. We have a brave, righteous Indian army officer battling a sinister Pakistani mastermind who, surprise, surprise, happens to be a high-ranking military official. Now, I'm not saying there haven't been tensions between India and Pakistan, that's a whole other video, but the way this film simplifies the conflict, demonizes an entire nation, and reduces complex geopolitical issues into a good versus evil brawl is not just lazy writing, it's irresponsible. And let's not forget the casual Islamophobia sprinkled throughout the film. The Pakistani villain prays 5 times a day, but only to ask for Allah's blessings before blowing up another Indian city. It's like they took every negative stereotype about Pakistan and Indian Muslims, threw them into a blender with some explosions and melodrama, and called it a movie. Moving on to a film that tries to disguise itself as a gritty thriller but ends up being a masterclass in fear-mongering. This time, the threat comes from within, with a group of Indian Muslim youths accused of plotting a terrorist attack. Of course, their motivations are paper-thin. Their characters are reduced to religious fanatics, and their actions are fueled by a blind hatred for everything India stands for. Now, I'm not saying that homegrown terrorism isn't a real issue, but to portray it as some kind of epidemic within the Indian Muslim community is not only inaccurate, it's downright dangerous. This narrative, unfortunately, resonates with a certain segment of the audience, further fueling prejudice and suspicion towards a community that's already marginalized and demonized. It's like the filmmakers took a page from the War on Terror playbook, swapped out the turbans for skullcaps, and called it a day. Now you might be thinking, Hassan, it's just a movie. Chill. But here's the thing. Representation matters. When you constantly see a particular community portrayed in a negative light, it seeps into the subconscious, shaping perceptions and reinforcing biases. The impact of these stereotypes goes beyond the screen. Think about it. How many times have we seen news reports where a Muslim accused of a crime is immediately labeled a terrorist, while someone from a different background is given the benefit of the doubt? These on-screen portrayals contribute to a climate of fear and suspicion, making it easier to justify discrimination and prejudice in the real world. This isn't about being politically correct. It's about being factually correct. It's about understanding that movies have the power to influence, for better or for worse. And in this case, Bollywood's obsession with portraying Pakistan and Indian Muslims as the villains of the story is having a very real and very dangerous impact on society. Let's take a moment to debunk some of the myths perpetuated by these films. First, the idea that Pakistan is solely responsible for all the tension in the region. This ignores the complex historical and political factors at play and conveniently overlooks any wrongdoing on the Indian side. It's like blaming your dog for eating your homework when you left it right next to him. Sure, he's guilty, but come on, you're not innocent either. Secondly, the notion that Indian Muslims are inherently suspicious and prone to extremism. This is not only statistically inaccurate, but also deeply insulting to a community that has contributed immensely to India's growth and development. It's like saying all basketball players are tall. Sure, there are some tall ones, but there are also plenty who are average height or even short. The reality is far more nuanced than Bollywood would have you believe. To truly understand the complexities of the Indo-Pakistani relationship or the lived experiences of Indian Muslims, you need to look beyond the silver screen and engage with diverse voices and perspectives. So why does Bollywood continue to peddle these harmful stereotypes? Well, for starters, it's profitable. These jingoistic films like Gadar Ek Prem Katha and Kasari tap into a pre-existing sense of nationalism and fear, guaranteeing box office success. It's like selling ice cream on a hot summer day. You know people will buy it, even if it's overpriced and melts before they can take a bite. Secondly, there's a lack of diversity in Bollywood, both in front of and behind the camera. When the same kind of people are writing, directing, and acting in these films, it's no surprise that the same tired tropes and stereotypes get recycled ad nauseum. It's like asking a room full of chefs to make a biryani and being surprised when they all taste the same. But perhaps the most concerning reason for this obsession with controlling the narrative is the growing influence of political ideology on Bollywood. With increasing pressure to toe the government line, filmmakers are often forced to sacrifice nuance and critical thinking for fear of censorship or backlash. It's like being told you can sing, but only if you stick to the approved playlist. That's our show for today, folks. I hope this deep dive into Bollywood's problematic portrayal of Pakistan and Indian Muslims has been eye-opening, to say the least. Let me know in the comments what you think. Have you noticed these harmful stereotypes in Bollywood films? How do you think we can challenge them and promote more nuanced and accurate representations? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the issues that matter. Until next time, stay critical, stay informed, and keep fighting the good fight.